TV News at 9. I am Uyaya Nekan coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the major stories. President Tinubu addresses Nigerians, says he understands the hardship they face. NSA Ribadu in closed-door meeting with Southeast governors. Plus, Trump employee to appear in court in secret documents case. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. Good evening and thanks for joining us. First in the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu today addressed the nation on the current economic situation. He added that he understands the hardship Nigerians are facing owing to his government's economic policies. It will be recalled that the Nigerian leader had pronounced an end to the payment of fuel subsidy, among others. While the move has resulted in a hike in the pump price of the commodity, cost of living also high, Tinubu told Nigerians that he understands their plight.
Outlive its usefulness. The subsidy cost, I have consistently maintained the post.
Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the provision of buses to student bodies of all universities, polytechnics and colleges of education across the country. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communication and Strategy, Dele Alake, today noted that the action was in furtherance of Tinubu's desire to ease the burden of the fuel subsidy removal on students of higher institutions of learning. The announcement comes amid the insistence by the organized labor to stage a mass protest nationwide on August 2nd. According to the presidential spokesman, the president's desire is to see that students can access their campuses without experiencing much difficulty as a result of the hike in transportation cost. He explained that the provision of the buses will go a long way in removing the burden of additional cost of daily commuting on parents and guardians. The statement also added that President Tinubu has directed the removal of all restrictions on the student's loan to make it available to any student or household that may desire it. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has decorated the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, and the service chiefs with their new ranks. The service chiefs decorated includes Major General Tawhid Lakwaja, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff. Recall that President Tinubu appointed the new set of military security chiefs on June 19, 2023, ending the tenure of those appointed by his predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari. From the Red Chambers now, where the Senate has commenced the screening of the first batch of ministerial nominees forwarded by President Bola Tinubu. The screening commenced at the upper chamber upon the arrival of Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Reports say 20 of the 28 ministerial nominees have completed their documentation for the screening at the Senate, and those yet to complete their documentation are reportedly out of the country. In a related development, former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has been asked to take a bow and go by the Senate. This followed his self-introduction on the floor and pledge to work to transform the country if confirmed a minister. Senator Mkwigi Barinda, in support of the nominee, said he, two other senators from Rivers and over 5 million people in Rivers are in support of his nomination. Meanwhile, the Senate has directed its leadership to mediate between the federal government and the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) to avert the impending nationwide strike action called by the Labour Union. The NLC had given the federal government an ultimatum to rescind the fuel subsidy removal or face a nationwide strike beginning from Wednesday. The Labour body is mobilizing its affiliate unions to ensure that the industrial action is successful and total. The resolution of the Senate followed a motion titled Urgent Need to Avert Impending Nationwide Strike being called by the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) over the removal of fuel subsidy, sponsored by Senator Suleiman Kawu, NNPP Kano South. Kawu, in his lead debate, insisted the strike would have a devastating effect on the nation's economy if allowed to hold. From the Green Chambers now, where the House of Representatives Committee on HIV, AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria has pledged to make necessary amendments to existing laws to ensure the fight against malaria, HIV, AIDS and tuberculosis is enhanced. The chairman of the committee, Amobi Oga, stated this while addressing a press conference in Abuja today. He said the committee will work with relevant stakeholders to enhance the fight against malaria, HIV, AIDS and tuberculosis, and also ensure that monies budgeted for are used for the purpose for which they are made. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Assets has announced its decision to investigate the alleged sale of 2 training helicopters by the Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, Zaria. The committee, in a press statement signed by its chairman, Ademorin Kuye, said its attention was drawn to the development through media reports on the purported sale of 2 Bell 206L3 helicopters, which were public assets acquired for training pilots by the Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, for 1.2 billion naira. He added that the urgency in the sales and concession of public assets at the twilight of the last administration calls for suspicion, since the supposed approval was gotten from that administration. Elsewhere, the House of Representatives investigating MDA's job racketeering and gross mismanagement of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System today summoned the IPPIS desk officer in the Federal Character Commission (FCC), Haruna Kolo, as well as Issa Ahmed, all of the IPPIS, to appear before the lawmakers on Friday alongside the Federal Character Commission. The chairman of the committee gave the summon after the chairman of the commission, Farida Dankaka, exposed that Haruna Kolo has been fingered in illegal employment and extorting money from the teeming populace. Appearing before the lawmakers, Farida Dankaka said Haruna Kolo is at large and has refused to honor the invitation of the commission over job racketeering and has sported to AMCON and did not resign as a staff from FCC. The committee also requested that the managing director of AMCON, Ahmed Kuru, should appear before the committee to answer questions as to how Kolo was employed to the AMCON without resigning from Federal Character Commission (FCC). Meanwhile, the human resource manager of the IPPIS was also fingered and is under investigation of the ICPC. Away from that, the federal government has lamented that the second Niger bridge may be blocked if miscreants continue to vandalize the metal components of the bridge. Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Mamuna Maman stated this when he visited the bridge to ascertain the level of the recent vandalization of the metal component. He called on security agencies to intensify surveillance on the bridge to curtail the activities of miscreants who he said were after the metal components. In another development, President of the Nigerian Bar Association NBA Yakubu Mekiel San today described the death of Supreme Court Justice Gentus Mweze as a huge loss to the Nigerian legal community. The late jurist was reported to have passed on July 30 yesterday after a brief illness. The NBA president expressed his condolences in a statement made available to newsmen in Lagos, signed by NBA National Publicity Secretary Habib Lawal. The NBA president expressed his condolences to the family of Mweze and the Chief Justice of Nigeria, as well as the entire legal community. He prayed God to grant the bereaved family the fortitude to bear the loss. On security matters, the National Security Advisor to President Bola Tinubu, Nuhu Ribadu, has met with governors from the 5 Southeast states in Abuja today. Although the agenda of the closed-door session was not made known to journalists, it might not be unconnected to the worsening security challenges in Anambra, Enugu, Abia, Imo, and Ebonyi State. It will be recalled that last Wednesday the Senate condemned the Monday sit-at-home in the southeast geopolitical zone and asked the federal government to collaborate with the Finnish government and extradite a pro-Biafran agitator Simon Ekpa for prosecution. The upper chamber resolved to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs, when appointed, and relevant stakeholders to carry out thorough investigation as well as bring other sponsors of the act to book. The Senate also rejected a recommendation for IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu's release, saying it would amount to sub judice as the matter of his release was still in court. Meanwhile, the leader of the separatist indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has returned to the custody of the Department of State Services DSS after being released on Saturday to be attended by his personal physician. According to IPOB, Kanu is suspected to be suffering from an ear infection and needs surgery. Meanwhile, the counsel for the IPOB leader Ifeanyi Ejiofor told newsmen that Kanu, who has been in detention since 2021, had access to his personal physicians and had been taken back into custody. Recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja had on the 20th of July ordered the DSS to grant Kanu access to his personal physicians, dismissing the DSS objection to the prayer. In a separate development, corps members have been advised to serve their fatherland as good representatives of their families, institutions, and the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). The NYSC Director General Brigadier General Yosu Ahmed gave the advice in his address to corps members at Benue State Orientation Camp in Waune, Taka local government area of the state. He admonished them to uphold the ideals of the scheme as laid by its founding fathers by being patriotic, selfless, and loyal to constituted authorities. General Ahmed also advised the corps members to relate very well with their host communities and leave indelible footprints of good memories. Away from that, the Katsina state government has said that it will soon pass a law establishing a Zakat and Wakaf Commission as an agency in the state civil service. The aim, the state government said, is to empower the existing Katsina Zakat and Wakaf board so as to effectively coordinate the activities of Zakat's disbursement in the near future. Chief Press Secretary to Governor Diko Umaru Rada Ibrahim Kaula Mohammed, who made this known in a statement, said his principal made the commitment while laying a 400 housing unit foundation for orphans and displaced persons in the state at Dangoro, Batagawan local government area. Moving now to Rivers State, where Governor Sinlayi Fubara has appointed 15 special assistants and a chief of protocol, Ambassador Harold Koko. The governor, in a statement by his special assistant media, Boniface Onyedi, said the appointments had been approved with immediate effect. Those appointed as special assistants are Owolabi Ofori, special assistants logistics, Ogbonna Okocha, special assistants project monitoring, Prince Will DK, Special Assistant Strategy, Chima Agume, Special Assistant Aviation Matters, Joseph Awuse, Special Assistant Finance, and Igwe Anyamo, Special Assistant Foreign Investments. In another development, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State today announced reduction in transport fare on all bus rapid transports BRT routes by 50% beginning from Wednesday, August 2nd. Governor Sanwo-Olu also said commercial yellow buses known as downfall will follow suit with a reduction of 25% in fare on all routes. Sanwo-Olu made the announcement while addressing journalists at the State House, Ikeja, at the end of a meeting with security agencies such as the Army, Police and the Navy. He also said the number of Lagos State staff buses will be increased, adding that new buses have been purchased for distribution soon. According to him, the distribution will be done through the Community Development Associations, CDAs, churches, mosques and local government. These measures, he said, are to cushion the effect of removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government as well as the harsh economic situation in the country. Back here, Rotary International District 9142 has held the installation and investiture of its 7th District Governor, Rotarian Akanema, in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State Capital. A correspondent, Esther Otoyo, who was present at the event, brings the details.
Rotarian Nakanima, a media and public relations practitioner, a chartered member of the Rotary Club of Uyo Metropolis, who has served the club as a president in the 2014-2015 Rotary year and also held other offices in the club, has been installed as the 7th District Governor. Speaking at the event, the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who was represented by Professor Peter Akpe-San and the chairman Central Planning Committee, Basi Ekanam, while noting that the ceremony is a yearly event that marks the beginning of a new district leadership for the continued motivation and guidance of Rotary Club, congratulated Rotarian Akanima for his success and contributions to the club.
I can only encourage you to continue along this trajectory. I'm confident that you will find the incoming Rotary District Governor a kindred spirit who will immediately immerse himself with the demands of his office and continue with the good works that you have been doing. Human and material resources will be required to effectively attain your mission. Akanema, I dare say, is one who can galvanize the necessary human and material resources required to fulfill your mission. It is in this context that I assure you of my support always and that of my good friend, Governor Nyesom Wike, CON Life Venture, who was invited to serve as chairman of this event. These programs mirror concerted efforts to address the development challenges confronting developing countries such as Nigeria.
With a heart full of joy, we especially welcome all of our guests and Rotarians, many of whom have traveled across highways, rivers, and oceans to be with us today. For the benefit of some of our guests, this ceremony is a yearly event in the life of Rotary that marks the beginning of a new district leadership for the continued motivation and guidance of Rotary clubs in Abia, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Cross River, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo states.
On their parts, others in a goodwill message describe Rotarianema as a leader with capacity. They implore all Rotarians to continue to support the district governor in ensuring that the district witness more success.
And I want to also implore us to continue to support the district in what we are doing to ensure that smiles are put on the faces of humanity across our district.
The newly installed Governor, Rotera Nakanema, while appreciating members for their support, promised to actualize the focus of the district by ensuring that Rotarians are inspired, influenced positively, and motivated to add value to the community.
Today for me is not a speech-making day, but to thank all of you for making out time to be here. To thank all of you for being part of this ceremony. And to thank the entire team members for the sacrifices that they have made so that today must be or is a reality.
High point of the event was presentation of award to the chairman and CEO TAF Media Group and Associate, owner of Planet FM, Tangsio and Spectrum Television, Tony Afia, among other dignitaries. In Uyo, Esther Otoyo, Spectrum News.
Still to come in the news. Mexican GDP grows by 0.9% in Q2. Stay tuned for details of this and more after the break.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters counsel is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Thanks for staying tuned and now to the rest of the news. We move now to Africa, where the military junta currently in charge of Niger has reportedly detained a leading official in the ousted president's party, as well as 2 more government ministers. According to reports, 5 ministers are now being held. President Mohamed Bazoum himself has been held since last week when the officers seized power. The PNDs said that Oil Minister Mohamed Sani Momodu and Mining Minister Oseni Hidatu are being held, along with the head of the party's National Executive Committee, Farankoye Gado. The coup leader are continuing to say they are about to be attacked, alleging without evidence that France has been considering an assault on the presidential palace to free Bazoum. In a related development, Germany says it had suspended financial aid to Niger as well as development cooperation with the jihadist hit nation following last week's coup and warned it could take further measures. A foreign ministry spokesman told newsmen that Berlin has suspended all direct support payments to the central government of Niger until further notice. The spokesperson added that the development ministry had also decided to suspend bilateral development cooperation. Meanwhile, voters in the Central African Republic are awaiting the results of a constitutional referendum which President Faustin Archange Touadera hopes will end term limits. The opposition boycotted the process, which concluded with the voting on Sunday, describing it as illegal. Reports say President Touadera, who is in his final term in office, may be able to run for a 3rd term if the referendum gets enough yes votes. Meanwhile, the supporters of Touadera, who is backed by the Russian Wagner Group, believe the proposed changes will help achieve stability and development in the country. But the opposition argues that it will help him secure his grip on power and become a president for life. Still in Africa, Senegal opposition leader Ousmane Sonko has been formally charged with fomenting insurrection and has been placed in custody. According to reports, he had also been accused of stealing the mobile phone of a gendarme whose vehicle had broken down near the politician's home and issuing a subversive message on social media. Sonko, who was arrested at his home on Friday, has denied the charges, saying they were politically motivated. On Sunday, he announced he was going on hunger strike and invited all political detainees to join him. Sonko, who is very popular among unemployed youth, has undergone a meteoric political rise in the last few years. In the meantime, civilian suffering continues unabated in war-ravaged Sudan. Reports say bombs have been raining down for days on homes and civilians. Neighborhoods in Yala, the capital of South Darfur state and Sudan's 2nd biggest city, leading many to flee their homes. Men in displacement camps said many were out in the open during the rainy season. No organization could help them, and that they feared the fighting would reach them. In the south of the capital, Khartoum, residents say paramilitary RSF forces have ordered hundreds of people to leave their homes, declaring the Jabra neighborhood a military zone where civilians should not be. On the foreign scene, the United Nations Cultural Agency, UNESCO, said today its experts recommended giving Australia more time to boost protection of the Great Barrier Reef, which the organization's World Heritage Committee has threatened to declare in danger. On the basis of progress made by Australia, the experts said the natural wonders' current state should not be discussed at this year's World Heritage Committee meeting in September in Riyadh, but instead be revisited in 2024. However, the experts, whose advice still needs to be approved by the committee, said surveillance of the reef would be strengthened and Australia needed to submit a progress report on the implementation of UNESCO's recommendations by February. Climate change is threatening the Great Barrier Reef's ecosystem, causing severe bleaching and damaging its corals. Still on the foreign scene, the property manager of former U.S. President Donald Trump's Florida estate is to appear in court to face charges of conspiring to help conceal the alleged mishandling of top-secret government documents by the former president. Carlos de Oliveira, 56, is scheduled to appear before a federal magistrate judge in Miami. The 77-year-old Trump pleaded not guilty last month to charges of unlawfully retaining national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and making false statements. Trump, the front-runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, is scheduled to go on trial next May at the height of what is expected to be a bitter and divisive presidential election campaign. It will be recalled that Special Counsel Jack Smith filed additional charges against Trump in a superseding indictment last week and added de Oliveira as a defendant. Meanwhile, Lebanon's embattled central bank governor stepped down today under a cloud of investigation and blame for his country's economic crisis, as several European countries probe him for alleged financial crimes. Riyad Saleh, 73, ended his 30-year tenure atop the central bank as cheerful employees took photos and a band played celebratory music with drums and trumpets. Reports say in the same building, his four vice governors, led by incoming interim governor Wasim Mansouri, quickly pivoted to urge fiscal reforms for the cash-strapped country. Meanwhile, 73-year-old Riyad Saleh kicked off his tenure as central bank governor in 1993, 3 years after Lebanon's bloody 15-year civil war came to an end. In the meantime, Myanmar junta extended the country's state of emergency by 6 months today, signaling a delay to elections they had pledged to hold as the military battles anti-coup fighters across the country. The Southeast Asian nation has been ravaged by deadly violence since the coup deposed Aung San Suu Kyi's government more than 2 years ago, unleashing a bloody crackdown on dissent that has sparked fighting across swaths of the nation while tanking the economy. Reports say junta chief Min Aung Hlaing acknowledged that much of the nation is not under full military control. Meanwhile, the junta stacked National Defense and Security Council NDSC agreed to prolong the state of emergency that was declared when the generals toppled Aung San Suu's government. Still on the foreign scene, Kyiv emergency services say 4 people have been reported dead following missile strikes at the central Ukrainian city of Kryvya, and the number of injured has risen to 43. It noted that a rescue team comprising of 230 people and 57 vehicles are involved in the search and rescue for people from the 2 buildings damaged in the attack. The emergency service added that 3 people, including a child born in 2013, have been rescued from the rubble, while 30 people were helped out of what remains of the structure. Elsewhere, Pope Francis has called on Russia to return to the agreement that had allowed the safe passage of Ukrainian grain through the Black Sea to world markets. The Ukraine grain deal was agreed last year and allowed around 33 million tons of grain to leave Ukrainian ports, helping to stabilize global food prices and avert shortages. Recall that 2 weeks ago, Russia had refused to extend a deal brokered by the United Nations and Turkey, under which Ukrainian grain exports pass through the Black Sea to reach global markets, including Africa, easing pressure on food prices. According to the Russia's pullout, wheat prices have risen due to the disagreement. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories Here's Blyden Ukem.
Thank you, Uyai Aniekan. Good evening. It's a new business day, and my name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, the Mexican economy expanded by 0.9% quarter on quarter in the 3 months ending June of 2023, in line with market estimates and broadly consistent with a 1% expansion in the previous quarter. It was the 7th consecutive period of growth, outperforming other North American economies and extending the period of marked resilience of Banxico's aggressive tightening momentum. Growth was distributed among all sectors of the Mexican economy, with services expanding by 1% from 1.5% in the previous quarter, while both manufacturing and primary industries grew by 0.8% from 0.6% and negative 0.28% respectively. On a yearly basis, the Mexican GDP increased by 3.7%, unchanged from the first quarter. In Africa, a planned $51 million bond issuance by Niger, scheduled for today in the West African regional date and the market, has been cancelled by the Central Bank of West African states following a coup, according to reports. At an emergency summit in Nigeria, the 15-nation Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, regional bloc, demanded on Sunday that Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum, who was ousted from power last week, be reinstated within a week. The bloc imposed sanctions on Niger, including the halt of all financial transactions and a national asset freeze, to try to force the coup plotters to restore constitutional order. Niger, one of the world's poorest countries and largely depends on external aid and financing, was expected to issue 2 other bonds in the regional market on August 7th and August 17th, according to an issuance calendar of the Regional Debt Management Agency. France, Niger's former colonial ruler, has condemned the coup. The European Union has suspended security cooperation and financial aid to Niger, while the United States has warned that its aid could also be at stake. In Nigeria, about 184.8 billion naira was lost by the cement and sugar companies largely owned by Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, according to reports by both Dangote Sugar and Dangote Cement in their second quarter financial statements. The loss was recorded after the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, devalued the naira by 192 naira or 40.78% on June 14, 2023. The naira to dollar rate was 471 naira per dollar on June 13th, but following the devaluation, the exchange rate moved to 664 naira per dollar on June 14th. Dangote Cement recorded a net exchange loss of 116.1 billion naira, while Dangote Sugar saw a loss of 68.7 billion naira. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. Today is the first trading day of the week, and a total of 673.42 million shares in 9,788 deals, corresponding to a market value of 6.47 billion naira, were traded. The market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 35 trillion naira. 119 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 19 gainers and 49 losers. To the top gainers, Better Glass Company led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 38 naira 50 kobo per share. On the losing side, Dangote Sugar Refinery came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 10% at 27 naira per share. RBA Mortgage Bank recorded the highest volume of 112 million traded shares. Regarding the performance of market indices, the benchmark All-Share Index declined 718.87 basis points to close at 64,337.52 points, being an overall year-to-date gain of 25.53%. This is all on business news. And back to Yaya Niekan for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Blyden Ukem. Still to come in the news.
Teams are getting the shots that they...
The Tigers face Mozambique for Côte d'Ivoire in quarterfinals. Stay tuned for details after this timeout.
Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
I'm just reminding you, not shaking.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. We look at health, where the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has said that it seized at least 156,575 tramadol pills and other illicit drugs in 5 states and the FCT in the last 2 weeks. In a statement issued in Abuja by the NDLEA's spokesman, Femi Babafemi, the states includes Enugu, Anambra, Ondo, Lagos, and Ogun. He revealed that at least 156,380 pieces of the pills were seized from 2 suspects, Abdulrazak Bala and Lawal Salisu. According to the statement, 2 suspected drug peddlers were arrested in the Gwagwalada-Abaji Highway in the FCT on Saturday, July 29. Still in health, the Kano state government has said that it had activated contact tracing as the diphtheria outbreak in the state has spread to 31 out of the 44 local government areas of the state. The state epidemiologist Dr. Abdullahi Karamata, who disclosed this in a chat with newsmen, said over 100 patients were on hospital admission, while about 2,000 patients who were treated and had recovered had been discharged. The resurgence of diphtheria, according to him, may be linked to the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in a lockdown and disrupted routine immunization of children. Over now to Isaac for latest sports stories.
Well, thank you very much, Uyai. In sports, basketball particularly, the D Tigers, Nigeria's women's basketball team, will face the winners between Mozambique and Ivory Coast in the quarterfinals of the 2023 FIBA Women's AfroBasket holding in Rwanda. The defending champions qualified for the quarterfinals after beating DR Congo and Egypt in the 2 group games. Nigeria, Cameroon, Rwanda, and Mali are the 4 teams that have qualified for the quarterfinals of the ongoing FIBA AfroBasket Women's competition in Kigali, Rwanda. The D Tigers will play the quarterfinal opponent on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2023 at 9 p.m. Other quarterfinal pairings include Rwanda versus winners between Uganda and DR Congo, Cameroon versus winners between Senegal and Egypt. Host Mali will face the winners between Angola and Guinea. The Rena Wakama-led side have won the title 3 times in a row and will be looking forward to winning it for the 4th time to equal Senegal's record. Well, in football, Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal have made an offer worth £120 million to Napoli for Victor Osimhen, with his wages on offer in the region of £1 million per week. The Pro League side have already had the bid of £259 million for PSG's Kylian Mbappe accepted this summer, although the player declined to meet with them and also tried to sign Lionel Messi before he moved to Inter Miami. It is thought Napoli would want more than €150 million to even consider selling a player who finished top of the Serie A goal-scoring chart last season as he won the title. Osimhen, aged 24, was a transfer target for Manchester United this summer, with talks over a new contract with Napoli stalling. Well, according to reports, a meeting with Napoli and Osimhen's agents failed to find a resolution on an extension to his deal, which runs until the summer of 2025. Ruben Neves from Wolves, Kalidou Koulibaly from Chelsea, and Sergej Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio have all signed for Al Hilal this summer. We're coming back further home. Nigerian defender Chidozie Awaziem is on the verge of sealing a move to Ligue 1 club Nantes. According to reports, Nantes are currently negotiating Awaziem's Portuguese club Boa Vista. The centre-back will sign a 4-year contract. It will be Awaziem's second stint in Nantes following his loan spell in the 2017-2018 season. The 26-year-old spent last season on loan at Croatian club Hajduk Split. He once had a spell in Turkey with K Koresespor and Alliance as well as Leganés in Spain. But that's it on sports. My name is Isaac.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Let's move now to entertainment news. Nigerian hip-hop artist Ice Prince Zamani has claimed that his former record label mate, M.I. Abaga, is in the same category with the world's greatest rappers. He said M.I. played a huge role in his career. He also said veteran Nigerian rapper Modine is the best metaphorical rapper in the world. Ice Prince lamented the current trend of foreign record labels dominating the Nigerian music industry, urging veteran music executives in the country to step up. Still on entertainment, Nigerian singer Divine Ikubo, also known as Rima, has revealed that losing his dad at an early age shaped his mind. He said he did not take life seriously until his dad passed away and he realized the importance of family. Meanwhile, popular Kenyan gospel singer Kevin Kioko, better known as Bahati, has stated that marrying one wife will prevent many men from going to heaven. The singer said this while advocating for polygamy on the Men's Corner show with one of his workers, Beati. Behati, during their discussion, demanded to know where the Bible limits polygamy as he queried pastors who advocate for one wife. In the meantime, popular Nigerian musician Teniola Akpata, popularly known as Tenny, has stated that she thought she was pregnant when she could not eat or communicate with people a week ago. The singer said this while revealing what she went through while battling with her health last week. Tenny, in a video on her Instagram story, said she was sick and sad at the same time, while telling her fans to thank God on her behalf. Tenny displayed the numerous medications she took before she recovered. Elsewhere, famous American Grammy Award-winning rapper Tease Bell Kali's Melanie's Almanza, known as Cardi B, has been seen throwing her microphone at a fan who tossed a drink at her during stage performance in Las Vegas. Cardi B, in a viral video on the internet, was seen performing at the event when a member of the crowd threw liquid from a cup at her. In the widely shared clip, the singer was captured reacting and looking angry after the drink splashed over her. The lady who splashed the drink was immediately escorted out of the venue by security. Meanwhile, the video has caught the attention of Nigerians with mixed reactions. Lastly, in the news tonight, the owner of X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, Elon Musk, has reinstated the account of famous American singer and fashion designer Kanye Omari West, popularly known as Kanye West or Ye. The company on Saturday told the Wall Street Journal that the singer will not be able to monetize his account and no ads will appear next to his post. West's account, which currently has 31.5 million followers, now appears with a golden verification tick, indicating that X recognizes it is an official business account. Recall that the rapper's account was suspended in December of 2022 for violating the platform's rules on inciting violence with his multiple anti-Semitic comments. And that's all we have for you tonight. Do well to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Uyai Anyeka. Thanks for watching and do have a splendid night rest. Good night, Nigeria.